Rolling camera. 3, 2, 1. Rolling sound. Who are you?
I'm David Culbertson. Born in Cleveland, Ohio. Spent my high school and college years in the state of Florida, and have moved to Georgia and have remained in Georgia for the past close to 30 years, I guess.
What was your childhood like, and what were some important lessons that you learned then that you carry with you today?
When I was a child, it seemed like a stereotypical suburban kind of kid. You walked to school, you played games, you had fights, you had friends. You did a lot of different things that would be typical suburban, I thought. Had a lot of fun, played a lot outside, very different from today's culture where you just didn't go home, you didn't have a phone, you just played. And then when it got dark, you came in. I think that's the gist out of it. It was fun.
3, 2, 1. Rolling sound. Who are you?
Hello, I'm David Culbertson. Let's see, let me do that again, I guess. Do you want the whole background stuff as well, or just just my name?
I'm going to stop right there. Rolling camera. 3, 2, 1. Rolling sound.
I'm David Culbertson. I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. I spent my high school and college years in Florida, and then the last 30 years in the state of Georgia.
What was your childhood like, and what were some important lessons that you learned then that you carry with you today?
My childhood, as I would see it, is based off of what I've seen in a lot of TV back in the day, is a stereotypical suburban kind of grow up where you lived out of the city. We had a house amongst the trees kind of thing, and myself and the neighbor kids, there'd always be a group that are your age that would walk to school. Back in the day, we'd actually walk through fields, and it was probably close to a mile and a half to school, which is kind of interesting. But, certain times of the year, we'd pick blackberries and things like that as little kids. But our life was just either in school or outside having a great time. I think some of the elements from the early years when I was young, elementary school, pretty much, that's kind of where I've probably thought a little bit more about artwork and doing art, which is kind of my career at the moment. I think the other things that are some other things that come up from my early years are based on what's going on at the time. Like sometimes I'll be talking to one of my daughters, and something comes up, and then I relate that back to something I went through as that age or younger or something like that. But there aren't any particular memories that I think shaped or formed me that I can pull out. It's usually something that comes up due to the circumstance that I'm currently in.
How does a flower grow?
How does a flower grow? From a seed. Plant it, give it what it needs, and it grows.
Please give me a random number from 1 to 100.
34.
Please give me another number from 1 to 100.
22.
What makes you feel accomplished? When is the last time you truly felt that emotion?
When do I feel that I've accomplished something? Or how does it feel to... I think it's more relief for me. Usually there are things that I'm working on, and it could be it could be at the office, or it could be in my own work, or it could be getting things done around the house, or chores, or whatever responsibilities I have. And there's always like a stress or a pressure that's part of accomplishing something, because usually there's a deadline associated with it or some kind of goal. And it seems like the tension and the excitement, stress, anxiety, whatever you want to call it, kind of builds until that moment. And when you actually finish it, feel good about it, or get to a certain level of completedness in the project, it's just a relaxed feeling that I think is what makes you feel good after all that stress and pressure is on you. So if you didn't have the pressure, you wouldn't feel the relief and the joy, or whatever that is that you're experiencing.
Please give me another number from 1 to 100.
70.
Please give me another number from 1 to 100.
60.
Please give me another number.
45. Or just pull from anything that's on there that's not crossed off.
What's the one thing that bothers you the most about the world today?
One thing that, it's hard to put one thing on it, because everything in my mind seems to be, there's so many things that are related, but right now it's just everyone's stuck in their ways and they believe one thing or the other. And nothing's really ever that cut and dry or clean. There's so many variants that are part of anything. It almost makes me, I don't know if it's angry or it's just frustrated that others don't realize that there's so much more to any particular question, belief, understanding than the cut and dry that usually is reflected in their thoughts, what they say, and what they watch, and how they act.
Please give me another number from 1 to 100.
12.
At what time in your recent past have you felt the most passionate and alive? How can you bring that passion to your life every day?
When was I felt the most passion recently? It's a interesting question to ask, because I don't really feel that so much. Like I almost can't remember the last time I felt real passionate about something. It seems that the way I go through life is almost based on every day ahead before kind of builds a certain structure about how my life is. So, if you build this section of your life that you live in, that's what you live in. Then you expand onto that, and then you expand on, and then you have all these different areas to live and to make and to create and to expand your mind, whatever you want to call it. But to me, I don't have like really highs and really lows. I don't believe any that I really can recall. It's kind of like on cruise control. where, if there's something here that I need to do, I take care of it, but it doesn't seem to be, anything overly passionate about, except for, I don't know if it's except for, that's in the recent. You can think about when my children were born, those kind of things, and freaking out about being a parent. I think that was something. And then just the love and that joy is, and the passion about that is pretty intense. So that would probably be it. And then emotionally passionate about, some of when my father died, that kind of stuff, brings back, a lot of emotion and passion about what our life together was. So I think that could be something that's now almost 4 years ago.
All right, please give me one final number from 1 to 100.
91.
What was your father or mother like at home? How does he or she act differently outside of the family?
Let's see. How are my mom and dad? What were they like at home, and how are they different from outside the family? Getting to my age, you have so many different eras of your life that actually feel different in a lot of different ways. You have, you grew up and you were being told what to do, and then you have a section of your life, usually when after high school, where you're almost like on this cruise control of, you make the decisions, but there's still a little bit of fallback with your parents. And then after you have kids, there's no more falling back. There's more of take care of, and then you start taking care of your parents. So the way my parents were when I was young was relatively strict. They put a sense of you better do the right thing, but it wasn't hammered into you. So some of that stuff I carry with me to my kids is, it's like an honest opinion of how you should go about doing things, or if you do that, there are consequences that happen, kind of thing. And I remember some of the things that my parents would say would be like, be careful, don't get in any trouble, kind of stuff. And I always kind of thought about that in the context of, there's probably going to be stuff that they don't want me doing, but I'm going to be doing it. And it's weird that he says that, but in the back of my mind, the whole time I'm away from home after they said that, it's gnawing at me. I better not get too out of hand, because I know there are consequences, kind of thing, which I think is a good thing. What was different about them probably during my adolescence or teenage years is when you saw them go out or go to a party, or even my wedding reception was interesting because they had some of their friends that they knew when they were young adults, like 19, 20, 21 years old, at our party, but basically it was their party. They were having the good time. We were just the reason that there was a party, my wedding. And to see the way, how much fun they had, and laughing and chatting and having those kind of conversations were interesting to see, and to see how happy they were and at that moment was cool. And different than the way they come at me. And then I think one other thing that was interesting is when my father passed away, you get like his friends, people he worked with, people from his church would say different things about your dad, and you're like, you're kidding, really? But it makes sense after a while, and then you think about it. Yeah, I can see all that. So there was it's like everybody, well, I wouldn't say everybody. I do in general is like you act certain ways around certain people. And I guess it's just an adjustment you do or I do as I feel out where I am. So I don't make anybody else uncomfortable, and it makes me more comfortable in that kind of a situation where, I think comfort is probably the word that fits me the best. Is as I went through some of the questions about, how do you see your life or what describes you? And, I don't have any like great quotes or great sayings or great teachings to give anybody. It's just that I've been this person that looks to be comfortable in the surroundings or whatever it is. And I've always been able to adapt, whether it was in cultural situations, work scenarios, play scenarios, sports, whatever sport it was, I got good at it in a short amount of time, and I could play with anybody, but was never the best. And I never pushed anything over the edge, over the top, and strived and worked and goaled and said, to heck with everything else. This is the goal. It was all of a stirred up concoction of all kinds of things that make up life. And that's kind of what I think I'm kind of in the baking process now. I stirred in a lot of ingredients. At this age, I'm pretty well baked.
How do you find meaning in your daily experience, and what propels you through life?
That goes back to what's the meaning of my life or whatever. Like I said before, I don't think I have one. What propels me through the day is it's like almost a sense of duty. This is what the human being was meant to do. You get up, you eat so you can survive, and you drink to survive because you have others that depend on you. So you do things that help you provide for them. And it's just the ongoing process of being human is one step in front of the other. Sometimes you're knocked back, and then you just start walking again. I think that's how I go about life.
What has the experience of living been like for you to this point? What can people learn from your life?
My experience so far in my life, and how would I express that? It comes at me and I adapt to it. I think adapt is what I do. It's like, you'll get thrown things. There's accidents that happen, right? There's different things that change. Health changes, wealth changes. Everything's going to change. So it's a matter of just, okay, I'll adapt to it and I'll keep moving forward is kind of what I said before. It's part of what my life is. I don't think I'm a role model to anyone about how to go about their life, because I think that's one of the great things about it is we're all individuals. We have these minds that are shaped by different things in our past and what we learn or hear or are taught. And that affects a lot of things, but we all have that capacity to create our own direction. Mine just happens to be based on, making it through what's thrown at me, and I just keep going.
All right, this is the big question and the reason we're here today. Life is fleeting. We never know when it's our time. If these were your last words ever recorded, what would you say about your life and your legacy?
What would I say about my life and legacy? It sounds kind of not morbid, but it sounds anticlimactic. Is I don't think I have anything. I think after my father died, I had a new approach to what I think death is. And it's just, it doesn't scare me. It doesn't intimidate me. It doesn't make me think that I've got to do something before somebody else dies or before I die. I don't think there's any of that stuff needs to be said. I'm more into the idea that what I can say in these moments, what would that do? What would that affect versus the billions of people or millions of people that have existed in the world for thousands, hundreds of thousands of years, whatever it is, they all die. Everyone dies. Animals die. Everything, lives and then it dies. And it's just part of life. So I don't have any words of wisdom or anything that I would say that needs to be said to anybody. I miss everybody. That's for sure. Well, I guess I miss them. I don't know what the afterlife kind of really means, but, hopefully everyone knows.
So I'll ask you finally.
I thought that was final. Go ahead.
Who are you?
Who am I? I looked for a catchy phrase or something like that. But I'm just here. I'm just living life.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Cut.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.